Like that. The good part's just getting ready to start. We get. How's our sound out there, Mark? Everything sound good? What's that? Check. Oh, there you go. Welcome to the Easy Sports Show. Yes, sir. Hope you're having a great start. We come to you live today from Brew, 4343 West Bell Road, right in Glendale, the corner of 43rd and Bell Road. Yes, sir. So, great show lined up here. We're going to jump right into this segment right here is brought to you by
Colt Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of the Easy Sports Talk Show. One of the first to launch nitrogen-infused coffee. They offer everything from specialty coffee to a botanical infusion line of caffeine and sugar-free brewed beverages. Call Colt Artisan Beverage Company at 623-434-0939 or visit ilovecolt.com for more information.
And if you want to get at us on the Easy Sports Talk hotline, you can give us a ring, 602-260-1060. Aaron is behind the glass, as always. If you want to tweet at us, at the Easy Sports Talk, at Ed Smith Speaks, and at Divine Love, that's love with LUV. So as I mentioned, we are here at Phoenix Strain Group. Have one of our most favorite people in the world, Mr. Hans Schatz, with us, along with Tiss Goble. I hope I said that right, Tiss. Tiss is the owner of this great establishment here. We're going to talk a little bit about what they do here at Phoenix Strain Group. First off, Tiss, thank you for having us. And this is a ruckus crowd.
Woo!
This is a great way to start your Saturday morning if you're in the area. We're going to talk about what you do here at Phoenix Strain Group. First, we're going to talk about how this all came to be. Tell us how this is. You've been in business since December. Tell us how this came to be.
This dream came about 26 years ago. I wanted to actually open a coffee shop in the park. And I think our park, I wanted to use coffee and so here 26 years later, there's a lot of life changes that require you to do something different.
And I was going to say, this is a unique spot. I stopped in earlier this week to introduce myself. And it's not just a coffee place. You have interior design in here. It's a ministry. This is a combination of so many different things.
It's a community, man.
It's a community.
It's a
That's
community.
Like, I get the feel. There's so much more than just a place to come grab a coffee. Tell us a little bit about that vision, that mission.
Yes, excellent. And when you step into it, you can feel that we do not hesitate to be with our customers and our family. We know them all by name. And that's important.
And tell us about how this relationship came to be.
I got goosebumps. I'm just going to put that on. Look, you can see them. I'm not making this up because I'm on the radio. I'm not sure how she found us, but I always believe that there's a current that, and this is a beautiful example that when you are walking in a certain space, that it's hearts that connect, not anything else, right? Not cars, not clothes, none of that. And when Tish came into our place, we had a chance to talk about what she wanted to do, and she told us her life story and got emotional, and I got emotional, and Ronnie got all of us. When they left, we felt like we had a new branch on our tree, or we were a new branch on her tree, however that works.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was like when you and I met, Ed, and I remember that day vividly, and I remember that day vividly. So we are too also in business to be in business. We have to sell stuff. We have to keep the lights on. We want to pay our employees. They're awesome. They're part of our family. We're also in business to create community. And so it's a wonderful, which one serves the other, right? And so when you look at what's going on in here and the work that Tish and her team and her daughter and everybody else and the beautiful people that are in here and just the total complete mixture of cultures and it's clearly working, right?
And you know, you can tell this is not a place that I see people sitting across from each other. You know, they don't even know each other. They're speaking, and
hey, I met a new friend this morning. He's right there. That's right.
Tell us a little bit about some of the things inside the coffee house, the recipes, the different things that you guys do to make stuff in here as well.
We are so our every sauce we serve that we use, it is vegan, non-dairy, gluten-free, no fructose,
Okay.
corn syrup, and we do scratch recipes so that we can keep the integrity of that. We want to make sure that we put that sauce that everybody's used to going carbon peppers and getting the sweetness.
Yeah.
And so we want to have coffee infusing
And one of the things you mentioned earlier, and I witnessed the other day, it's all about your customers. Everybody who comes in here, I notice you get their name, you want to have a talk with them.
We do. You know, a lot of people say, I don't even know how to do this because it's a black sign. Our temporary black sign. Well, I knew when I opened up the signage, you know, right before opening those 2 days before, the Lord was going to send people to and he did just that. And so we want to make sure that we're serving the And so that's why it's important for us to know each person's name, know their story, know their family, and their likes and dislikes and their interests. And so we actually do that in the system as well. We know that. And you get to know them so often that you know that they're he's like a father. We know our people and they know us.
Humility before honor.
And once again, a great partner, Honda. You know, it's like you stack them up, man. This is another. When I met Tish the other day, I was like, I understand why you guys came together. Tell us a little bit about you did something unique as well, as far as you open this up to people who want to have meetings or fellowship. How do you incorporate that into it?
So during business hours, you know, some of us available space, however, after hours, we do bring the space out for worship nights and conferences with white items, regular sections, people can go to their space or contact me. But we want to make sure that there is a reasonably priced place for people to gather and not
Yeah. And something that's cool is you got the family involved as well. Met your daughter.
My middle child number 3, and she had my first grandbaby.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. And tell us a little bit about some of the specials and things you do here as well. I know we got every Tuesday, drop a new tea recipe, spilling the tea too. Yeah, I do that family.
Yeah, it's still in the tea Tuesday. We do botanical or tea, or make sure that we let people know the difference between teas and botanicals. And that's every Tuesday we drop something. We go to social media on Instagram. That's where we keep our secret videos with Instagram and Facebook. And then on Thursdays, we call it Thirsty Thursday.
Okay.
And that's where we'll drop new unique fabric. We are so good. And so we can get to the and hobbies like Friday, we can pull super clean, very mini customer favorites, and you get 3 6-ounce samples of recipes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so what we have found is that everybody wants to try something all the time, and so this was an opportunity for me to present a really to try it.
I have to tell you, Brother Hans, Tish did her homework too, because you know, earlier in the week, I let Tish know I might stop in, and then you know I was in the area and I figured we pop in. I came in, first thing she said, I was like, wow, she was waiting on me, man. Didn't even know I was coming in the door. So.
His attention to detail makes such a big difference.
And tell us a little bit about what we got going on today, because you got some drawings and some different things, face painting for the kids.
The face painting has begun. Kids over there get their faces. So Irish Clothing Company is one of my partners. They do the apparel. They are here today to do a meet and greet and to sell items as well. But normally they are in our store, on a regular basis. We're going to do 6 giveaways. We're going to give away some stationery items.
Okay.
Miss Tiffany Sakamis, she debuted today, so she will be in our spot. We're going to do a full-on display at the end of August for her. So 6 giveaways today. We have got $5 beverages today. Ask at the counter. And
Cold t-shirts.
Cold t-shirt alerts. Yes, and we'll actually be giving away some merch as well.
And Brother Hans, always like to keep up with you. A couple minutes left. What's going on with Colt? You guys are always moving and shaking.
We're good. We just got our bottles launched in Sprouts across the country, 380 stores. We have
There you
6
go.
copies going into 200 Albertson Safeways in 4 states. Next week, I think, we've got 11 copies going into Walmarts in Arizona in about 2 weeks. And we got some really exciting news we can break loose soon. Whole Foods. I can't say who it is.
Okay.
Probably in the next 30 days. And then it's summer. It's freaking hot in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
But our local business and like what Tiff's doing here, our businesses are thriving. They're all doing really well. They're happy to do what they do. We're happy to help them.
Moving and shaking. Tell everybody how they can follow you.
Okay. Instagram is THX Strange and Phoenix Strange
And Brother Hans.
I love Colt.com. It's super easy. I love Colt.com. CULT.
There you go. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna continue on. We got some sports to talk about. We're gonna continue on to just let everybody know where we're at, what we're doing, and all the great things you're doing here. Tish cannot thank you enough for having us.
She's so awesome.
And like I said,
She's so awesome.
this is love right here. So make sure you come out. And one of the things we always like to stress: come out and support these great local businesses. This is one of them.
They work hard.
Work hard and just supporting their families and supporting the community, more importantly. So Phoenix Strange Brew is at 4343 West Bell Road, right in the corner of 43rd and Bell Road. There's a Fry's right
Right
here
in the Fry's,
front,
right.
so you can't miss it. We're going to get this show kicked off with some sports here. Appreciate you hanging out. Sports here. Appreciate you hanging out. Easy J. Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX KT 721.7. Be back after these messages, folks. We got it all in.
Woo! Woo!
Thank you so much.
Look at that. Just like in the movies. Crushed it. She was on live TV. We were on live TV together.
Oh, yeah.
First
I
day.
think you told me about
With
that.
Brad, you crushed it then, too.
I'll keep crushing it.
That's right.
There you go. Thank you. We'll be out. And anything that's going on, we'll continue to bring it over to us. We'll get that out too.
All right, I will.
Okay.
I'm going to put these back when I'm done. I'm just using it here while they're on camera. I meant to bring you some, but.
Okay.
You're done with it here. Show me where you want it. Usually don't follow that.
Yeah. Okay.
Since we're hot the whole time, make sure you pay attention to your mic.
Okay. You said it was hot?
Hot on the side.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Remind me at the top of the hour to go out and come back in. Oh, you want us up?
Yeah, like that. Turn yourself up. Cool. So they can hear me. I'm in the building, man. So they can hear me. I'm in the building.
You notice how to do your YouTube. That shit had that.
Nobody do that for me, man.
Don't sound right coming out of my mouth. It'll be a short segment. I extended that with a couple. We can fill in the next segment with, yeah. And welcome back to the East Sports Talk Show. We're doing start of the weekend. Here we are getting in over Phoenix Strange right here in Glendale. This segment right here is brought to you by
Milano Music, family owned and operated for over 75 years, over 50,000 square foot showroom and repair facility, 18 instrument rental depots across the valley. Visit MilanoMusic.com. That's MILANO music.com, or call them at 480-827-1111.
So as the weekend will be approaching, we have some big news drop on Thursday. Right before training camp, rookie was going to report on the 21st.
Yep.
And boom, they dropped it. Kyler Murray got his contract extension through 2028, $230.5 guarantee or kind of total contract, $160 million guaranteed, 46.1 annually over the next few years.
Yeah.
Second only to Aaron Rodgers in total annual salary.
Yeah.
So the boy got what he wanted. Not a big fan of how we got it done, but we got it done. A lot of questions moving forward, though.
Yes.
I was joking with you didn't believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast yesterday, and it was our 100th episode.
Yes, sir.
Where do you find that, Jim?
Go to Believe.com. You can go and search Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. You go to EasySportsTalk.com as well. Or you can go to the Sirius XM app. Wherever you find your podcast, just search Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. BLEAV.
And they call it the Sirius XM app as well. So the big question now is, okay, you got this money, a whole lot of money.
Yes.
What's next for our young quarterback?
Like Warren G was saying, what's next? What's in XET?
Yes, indeed. I was joking with you yesterday when we did the podcast, and I threw out that line from Spider-Man, and Aaron might like this. I said, obviously with great power, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
And that's what actually with great money comes great responsibility. Well, a whole lot of things all of a sudden change for one Kyler Murray. One thing that's interesting to me, Jake, is normally when someone gets paid, especially that kind of money, Aaron Rodgers, Sister, Allen, they're like, well, that's a bargain. There are a lot of people still doubting Kyler Murray for a whole lot of different reasons. The size, the durability, his leadership, or lack thereof.
Leadership is the biggest thing for me. Leadership and the consistency, because we know at the beginning of seasons, he's shown the first half of seasons, he's shown that ability to perform at a high level. But as the season wears on, he seems to wear down, or maybe he just figured out.
My biggest thing is the leadership. We keep talking about this, and it's funny how sometimes because we're local, right? And most instances you're supposed to ride or die with you, or because we're supporting the organization, and a lot of other entities they like to look at the bright side of everything all the time. They want to take a look at some of the qualities that we would like and not getting. You know, a lot of us on the road.
We call it strengths and opportunities. There's an opportunity here for it.
And we are, you know, we keep it real on this side. You know, we joked last time, but you know, I joked about was it J.J. Watt capability, hey. There's some things that, you know, like everybody thinks because we're telling, hey, you gotta be, you gotta keep it real. And for me, I'm still trying to figure out where we are with this young quarterback in the leadership. Does that, just because you get the money, you have to create questions we'll talk about later on. But just because you get the money does not all of a sudden mean now, we got a great leader, we got a great quarterback. His physical attributes never down. We have doubted his durability a little bit. Yeah. We have doubted his leadership.
Yeah.
Size is always a question. There are some question marks out there. I am really now this. Once they get started with camp, where we're going from here doesn't change in any way.
Leadership and that consistency. Those are the, because you can't get taught. So it has to be the leadership. What do we mean when we say leadership? One of the things that we were talking about in the podcast, talking about what you don't think about leadership, it's having that influence, it's being able to set that example as you're going through, right? So it's when you're in the game and you come off of a poor off of a series where you didn't get any points, maybe you just got a field goal, and instead of pointing at your teammates and saying what they did, you go and try to figure out and work it out together. If you're going in a second and throwing power, it's what can be, or sometimes it's even if you don't. Even if you don't, because coaches do this quite a bit. I see that the players are supposed to be the ones that are preparing, right? So it's the quarterback that might take that responsibility on himself and then go into it and say, hey, you know you're right. Let's just go next time. It's going to be pretty good instead of point. Because then that maybe the next time Ed doesn't run as Crystal around because he's thinking that this dude is over time and starts to develop. So those leadership qualities have to happen during in-game, has to happen in preparation, all of those things.
I'll throw this out too. No money, no problem.
Okay.
When you get paid, outside expectations, you have to now run with people, right?
Yes.
I'll ask you there in this because now with all this money, it's now we made playoffs last year, right? Got select. Now you get this money. What are your expectations of the team? Now you have to take, you guys physically take that home because you want to play like Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes and Allen. Look at what they're doing. You're getting kind of rated according to your contemporaries. These guys are getting not just getting playoffs, but getting playoff games and Super Bowl, right? So now, what are your expectations? What is the bare minimum? You can't just get to the playoffs weekend and then get beat. Now, what happens if we don't meet those goals? What is the acceptable season for Cardinals at this point? I'll ask Aaron first. What do you think, Aaron, the bare minimum to make a successful campaign now that you got paid?
Yeah, so we're always going to be focused on PCA. We're going to be from now until we're the Super Bowl. And at any point, who knows what's happening that would justify this contract. But I think, one sporting team that have this contract that the Cardinals have got organizations having money that's going to spend for future. So I would say that for this year, you need to see that individual people go who are not taking just so this time. So I think you probably want to see a playoff on this
I would say that playoff, at least a playoff. You don't want to back into the playoffs as they did last season. You want to be able to have a strong finish. And have a I know what you got that sweat in your face.
No,
you got that easy smirk that says, if you pay him like this, I think there's growth and there's evolution.
Yeah, here's the thing, we're being reasonable and
you treat Colin like I treat Devin.
No, here's the thing though, we're being reasonable. You and Aaron are both being reasonable.
Yeah.
The media and everybody else, especially fans, like I said, the expectations rise all of a sudden when you're getting paid this and you're watching, like I said, some of these others taking their next step. So we'll see how it goes. I got to introduce a question for both of you when we come back. Hey, great hanging out. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. This is Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show. Aaron behind the glass, Holding it down for us coming today for Phoenix Strange Group, 43 West Bell Road, right at the corner of 43rd Avenue and Bell. Hope you have a great start. Again, like I said, coming out, some great business. Be back after the message.
You can.
Got that paper, man. And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. Hope you have a great start to your weekend. Come to you live today from Phoenix Strange Group, 4343 West Bell Road, right here in the corner of 43rd Avenue and Bell. This segment right here is brought to you by
50 Cent, Majestic Services. Contact Majestic Services to do all the dirty work around your home or business. Majestic Services will pressure wash your driveways, awnings, pool decks, sidewalks, receiving docks, and more. Call Majestic Services at 602-614-9401 or go to majesticservices.net for your free no obligation quote today.
And if you want to get at us, you can call us on the Easy Sports Talk hotline, 602-260-1060. I want to say on the Kyler Murray tip here, your man just got paid
Yeah,
$230.5. You know that 0.5 is just so he could have 500,000 and go over in Cleveland.
but here's the difference though. You can be 230.5 all you want, but it's between 100 and 160 guaranteed.
Yeah.
But Deshaun's is 230 guaranteed.
Yeah.
So you can take that 0.5 all you want.
Well, you know the interesting thing, he's now the second highest paid quarterback. We still got Lamar Jackson out there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what he's going to ask for. He's 500 more thousand than Kyler. Maybe you go more. We'll see where he goes with that. But the cost of a quarterback nowadays, man, bro, I think we all around. I was coming up today. I get a quarterback for short. Now, a couple questions. I want to get both of your opinions on this one. One, like I said, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Murray. See how he handles it. Specifically, if things don't go the way they're supposed to go, I call it the blame game. Because now, before, he was uplifting the organization. Now it's going to be a lot of people. I'm not saying that. Now people are going to be grading them on a different scale. And say the Cardinals come out and they have another one, a repeat of the last couple years. They start off great. And here's the thing. They got a tough road first 3 weeks of the season.
Yes.
6 games without D-Hop to start out with. You don't know how the season's going to go.
Yeah.
Say we start off 1-2, even 0-3, something crazy like that. A lot of fingers are going to start to point at our young quarterback. My question goes to you, and this is all hypothetical. How do you think he will handle it? Because he's not been criticized a lot in his life. When he hasn't taken it well. Now,
Last year and a half, he has been.
he has taken it well. What happens now at this level? Because now, like I said, the spotlight's shining even brighter because you just signed this big contract.
Yeah, I think it will depend upon how he's performing. It depends on who is evaluated. Because if you look at a macro level, some of those pundits that just look at the records and say, well, the quarterback must be struggling, right? But sometimes it can be better for defense is not doing their part, and his numbers are otherworldly. Locally, at the micro level, we'll be able to look and make the necessary, but be able to look at it more realistically. But it's going to depend upon who it is. If you get to the first takes and all that type of stuff, they might look at it through slightly jaded lens, and then it gets a lot more criticism. That's what could happen. But I think it depends upon how he performs if the record is less than stellar.
Do you think we get Kyler Murray here?
I don't know if that necessarily says that, take this contract and now is the team to yesterday media, he asked them, those are things that he said that not only the team involved in their November, December performance, but he recognized they don't have to see things in that second half of the season where they don't take things the right way. And he was very honest about it. So I think if yesterday was an indication, it was a good start of being honest with yourself about how the team performed, and hopefully, if you're honest with yourself, it sets goals for you.
I'm hoping that, like you said, Aaron, I'm hoping that was a good sign. The press conference, I didn't get a chance to say it myself, but if that is, I'm sure he's learning a lot being in this position. And one of the things is the public perception. I find it hard. You asked me questions about leadership yesterday.
Yeah.
Whether it can be taught or whether something that you can't be taught. I said something. It's got to be at least a seed inside of you that can grow. I don't think some people aren't necessarily born a leader, but it might be somewhere in there where either through mentorship or through going through experiences, they evolve. The question for me is which is Kyler Murray? Is he somebody, because he's very introverted by nature. I mentioned yesterday how I'm introverted, and I'm not hence the nickname. I wasn't always a vocal leader, but there were times when I realized, hey, especially as I got older in my career in baseball, I had to step up. So I did that. But, you know, in this situation, I don't. What do you consider leadership from Murray? Because he's not a real vocal guy.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing where again you have some of those quarterbacks. If you think of on the far end of the spectrum, if Tom Brady is at the far end of the spectrum, being yelling and being all demonstrative in that way, I don't think he needs to be that because if I'm integrated as well. So it's a matter of if you go to. If something goes awry, I pull somebody to the side. Let's just talk. I don't need to yell at you. I don't need to laugh. So it's the things that you do when nobody is seeing it, or wait on the sideline. So some of those sideline things, some of those, I can remember. And this kind of maybe goes to leadership. If a parent is supposed to be the leader of the kids, right? So I can remember some of my kids looking at me and I made a certain face that just something. That just their spirit just dropped a little bit. So you have to realize how the look on your face, how you react, those things matter.
Yeah.
And so if he can get a hold of that, and you have to want to make those changes. It's one thing to be able to say it, but it's difficult to just you can't flip the switch and all of a sudden get better at it. It has to be a concerted effort. And with that feedback and the people that you're trying to positively influence.
And the things you're talking about are when Murray's on the field sometimes, he'll throw a pass, and maybe either the receiver wasn't on the same page with, but he throws the hands up. He goes to the sideline, sits instead of around people who's got the eyes on sitting there. And I mean, it's just the appearance that he looks like he's sulking. And as you mentioned, sometimes it's the smallest thing. It's a visual. We're looking, and we might be like we're kind of we're visualizing and seeing it, and it's our perception.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, say, if he did the same path, and had himself on the chest, like my dad. Next time we did that, went over to the sideline, had a conversation. You can see he was interacting with his teammates, and we talk about that being a leadership.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it is just a perception.
It is. I know it's a different sport, but here's one of the you know that I mentioned this when Chris Paul was what came to the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
I worried that his style of leadership,
in your
would
face,
work because you had somebody who been perceived as a little bit more of sensitive in terms of DeAndre Ayton. Would that work? Because Chris Paul can wear on you a bit. So it's understanding who your audience is and how to reach them, and that is the key. So if you have somebody that can maybe give you some pointers or give you some suggestions or provide some insights for you, that can help you to become a better leader. He doesn't ever have to be the one that comes to the press conference and says it's all and yell and storm out. He doesn't have to do any of that. It's the little things that you do to give your teammates confidence, and they know that you're working just as hard as them. Leadership can be film session.
Yeah.
Being able to look at film. There's an article about a knock on him in terms of film. It's these little things, and they're not big things. I mean, he has the skill set. It's a matter of taking the little tweaks and pivots to help you to take the next step, and I think that will help you to earn this country.
And quite honestly, I would never want to see fake bravado. We know who he is. I just want to see like the little tweaks. I don't necessarily need to see him in people's face like Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That's not his style.
I thought Tom Brady was going to wear on his stuff, but the thing about Tom Brady is he'll yell at you, but he makes a mistake and you can see him yelling at himself.
Exactly.
Being very critical of himself, but not everybody responds to that.
So along with the good news that Kyler is signed and locked and sealed for 2028, Hudson came out and announced that he's coming back. So big sigh of relief for everybody. He's coming back, whatever that was with training camp or the OTAs and off-season and stuff like that. We may never find out. My question for the organization is, are you ready? Are you preparing because this is obviously something that they weren't expecting. Now you have to consider you need to start thinking about their center position and our offensive line all together.
Real quick, one of the things that I like about both the Suns and the Cardinals is that they never let anything get out in terms of they'll let you speculate. They'll never they'll let you speculate to your heart's content. We are never going to tell you what it is. And I like that personally because it may have been husband saying, I just don't want to go. And so we say, is he retiring? What's the deal? Was he over at the store? What happened? Nah, man.
All right,
just let it go.
we're going to take this break. Hope you have a great start to the week. So far, appreciate you hanging out. Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show. Be back after these messages, folks. Hit them, Jay.
You can.
Thanks, Aaron.
Cole Artisan and supporting Colt.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. You got a double XL. That's me.
How you doing, sir?
I just want to ask, do you guys broadcast on like the radio?
Yes, we're on AM 1060 every Saturday from 10 to 12.
I'm sorry, I listen to 98.7.
Okay. Like I said, we've been on for 5 years, so if you're ever out and about with mom and dad or just want to turn us on, we'll see you. I'll grab you the card before you leave.
Good, thanks.
You good? Okay.
It might work. It might work.
I wear a 2XL, so it
Yeah.
should fit.
Thank you, man. Cool, thank you.
Biggest problem is getting over his big head, though.
So it's going to be one large.
Whatever the largest size you have, it doesn't fit me. It'll fit my son. Thank you. Congratulations. Sports Talk Show. Coming live today from Phoenix Range, right here, 4343 West Bell Road. And just for anybody watching, make sure you stick around for a little bit. They said he's going to go get the strength payment in a little while. He said he's going to get a title. And I said,
Rawr.
Let's stay right here, about 5.
Casual Sports Radio Network, KSRN is your destination for the latest updates and in-depth coverage of your Arizona sports teams, including all things Arizona Cardinals for the Bird Gang fan base. Visit casualsports.com, that's KAZUALSPORTZ.com for featured articles, great podcasts, such as the repurposing of the Easy Sports Talk Show and Believe in the Arizona Cardinals, and music programming like Microphone Masters and more.
So we're going to talk a little baseball here. All-Star game just happened. You had a quick question for me, though.
Yeah, so when you were in the league, you were getting ready for training camp. What's that like as you start to prepare for now? It's
last few days.
yeah,
get
last
ready.
few days before you have to walk into training camp. What's that like?
Well,
Is it a sense of dread? You know you're gonna get paid. That's why you're going is to get paid.
You gotta remember the era I played in too. Now I'd be probably looking forward to training camp because
Right.
they would go in there and give us some walkthroughs and only 3 preseason games. And matter of fact, when I played, camp started the first week of July, not the last week of July. I was in camp as early as July 10th. We're at the 23rd now, and guys are just reporting on the 26th. So you're talking about a whole 2 weeks prior. We're in there and we're getting physical. So
You had 2 days. Did you have
2
3
days.
days?
No, we had 2 days. We had when I say we had 2 days, I'm talking
Yeah.
hitting in the morning. And I'm not talking light touching each other. I'm talking about full pads hitting, and then you would go up the hill, try to get your little food in, your little nap, study the plate for install in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was right down the hill to get taped and everything, and go full combat again, bro. Yeah. So long story short,
Yeah.
like camp got closer and it was like you sad, bro. Because from the day you step back
Yeah.
to January, or if you're lucky, February, the one year I was ready to go to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
we just knew it was what my man said, Culver Lane. As a, you have a prediction for that East fight?
Okay.
So All-Star game went off this week. I think it was on Tuesday after the big home run derby, and I had some thoughts on it, man. Did you watch any of the game? No. You didn't watch any of it? This is the midseason classic. I mean, this is supposed to be the celebration of the game. You didn't watch any? Aaron, did you watch any of the All-Star game?
I watched the home run derby.
Okay, so you didn't watch the game either. I
never really watched the All-Star game, but I love watching the home run derby.
I would say I'm the exact opposite. Because I was in some home run hitting contests. They're tiring. But I guarantee you, the balls are juiced and the bats are juiced as well. Because the way these dudes are hitting some of these balls, man. But I can't. For me, it's hard to sit there and watch somebody just continue, shoot for the fences. I actually watched some of the game, and it was, oh goodness, I'm trying to give baseball some love. You know why? It was 3-2. Okay, I'll set the scenario for you. 3-2. The NL came out and got 2 in the bottom of the first, right? I'm like, okay, let's get on. They got set out for the next 8 innings. The 8, yeah. AL scored 3 in the 4th. You take those 2 innings out, the rest of it was a snooze fest and a lot of strikeouts. Now, these are the best hitters in the game, right? A combined 22 strikeouts, which says a lot for the pitching. But it's also, as far as action, I was just like, this is horrible to watch. Nothing going on. They actually had the shift on in the All-Star game. I'm thinking, wait a minute, we can't even play this one straight up. So there was just little things that caught me that I was just thinking, I don't know, they're talking about it. And then, bruh, these dudes with this body armor, golly, if I could wear this type of stuff they wear now, no one, you can't throw anybody inside anyway because everybody gets ticked off. But I don't know. It must have been, but man, I was thinking these dudes must like playing like they're going out to combat or something with all this stuff they had on. So for me, it was a very boring game. Here's what caught my eye more than anything. Let's bring this back to a local. Let's go macro. Is it macro or micro?
Local is micro.
Okay, so we're gonna go micro on this. And we had a young man here a few years ago. I actually got cups of him in the house. One Mr. Goldsmith, right? We had him here as the centerpiece of our organization. And it came a point where the Diamondbacks had to figure out, do we keep him or do we let him go? This is a dude in his prime. right? A cornerstone of an organization. We let this man go just because we didn't want to pay him, right? And now look where we're at. This Paul Goldschmidt is an all-star, hit a home run in the first inning of the all-star game, and I'm watching him, and it was one of those situations where I started thinking, treat Nika, right? You dated somebody and you kind of kick him to the curb, treat him bad, right? And then you end up running into him later on. It might have been one of the things, it was just a summer fling, she lives in Florida. Okay. All of a sudden you found out she moved to your hometown. Now you got to see her all the time. And she, turned out to, ugly duckling, maybe turned out to be a dime piece, but you kicked her to the curb. Hey, you want maybe you want a second chance? No, I'm good, bro. And you're like, well, how you doing? I'm doing great. I'm awesome. I got my new whip out there, and she is looking good. We got no chance that we gave Paul Goldschmidt away. Now every year we have to watch what he does, and we continue to do it, not just with Goldschmidt, but to see him in the All-Star game and think to myself, man, they very easily, he could have been still here helping this organization, but they just,
Yeah, that's the tough thing about when you have different people making decisions. Obviously, the Hayes and such that are in place now, it's Hayes, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, either way, it's what do you do? We talked about this before, and I think it's difficult, but sometimes it's when it's not all actions that's being spent. But when you're in the market, it doesn't necessarily turn out in droves to support the team. You have to make certain fiscal decisions that may not be popular. But the flip side of it is, I heard somebody talking about this week that the flip side of this week, those for are going to be two high-priced pitchers. And then let him go.
Yeah.
So it's you're trying to make those decisions. Sometimes you're trying to be aggressive. Sometimes you have to be conservative and approach it. But it's definitely tough because you want the fans to be excited about players, and it's tough when you send those players away. But you have organizations like the Dodgers, even like the Yankees, people in the farm system, that they continually quality and find that quality to be able to build. And I think that's still a record.
Goldschmidt is a piece that they will forever regret, in my opinion, in terms of letting go. I'm not sure what their philosophy was at the time.
Goldschmidt is the part example.
Oh, yeah.
Scherzer was here at one time. There's countless examples.
Oh, plenty of them. Yeah.
To be able to thrive. Is that a byproduct of or growth?
Bad management.
Well,
If you ask me.
Not being able to maximize the talent that is there or giving up on talent too soon. Those are things that we're coming into question. Those are questions that we're answering.
In my opinion, that's a piece, though, because he was so beloved here and he was so productive. I would have done whatever I have. He should have retired a Diamondback or at least gotten so far into his career that, hey, maybe it's time to let him go. But we gave him we didn't even make an attempt to keep him. That was my biggest thing when it happened all those years ago. And like I said, he's just a piece, in my opinion, that should have never left here. But the sad part is to watch him continue to flourish. And
it's one thing if it was you traded them for 2 seasons only and 2 more seasons. Like what Bill Belichick was doing.
I don't know what the Cardinals did with Pujols. They let him, he wanted like 10 years. And like, they let him go. They got his best years. He went over to the Angels, and he was a far less better product over there. But the Cardinals squeezed that orange to the point where there was nothing left to fault. Yeah. They got what they could out of him. Yeah. Look at this. All these years later, Goldschmidt is still an all-star. And it's just sad, man. I just wish we could have done something. But you can't, was it the crowd was spit milk? I guess, yeah. I guess, I don't know.
Hopefully,
every time you see him, though. But that's just got to be a reminder. All these years later, it's like, he's still over there doing it.
son in terms of
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about what they did because we'll talk a little bit more specific about the Diamondbacks season next segment. But man, I'm telling you, bro, that girl is fine. She's still over there doing it. Well, Paul just continues to move forward. So,
Oh man.
hey, appreciate you hanging out. 1 hour down, Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show. We're getting it in today from Phoenix Strange Brew, 4343 West Bell Road. You got to come support this great establishment. It's a great ministry. They've got interior design products, things you can buy in here as well. Come see Tish and the family and all the people supporting and helping in here. Take this break. Hour 2 back up next. Hope you have a great start to your weekend, folks.
Okay.
Thanks, Aaron. All right. And welcome back to hour 2 of the Easy Sports Talk Show. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. This segment right here is brought to you by
Hope Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of the Easy Sports Talk Show. One of the first to launch nitrogen-infused coffee. They offer everything from specialty coffees to a botanical-infused line of caffeine and sugar-free brewed beverages called Hope Artisan Beverage Company at 623-434-0939 or visit ilovehope.com for more information.
I can't wait for you to get your tiger on. I can see you with your little stripes on, your little orange paint on your nose and everything. We have to get you over there, man. So I hope you're having a good start to the weekend. Continue to talk a little bit about the Diamondbacks season. And it's almost like, you All-Star break comes, right? And you want to say the second half of the season. But I'm just doing the numbers here. They won last night. They started a 3-game set against the Nationals. They actually came out the box, beat them 10-1. They're 41-52 on the season. That's 93 games into the season, which is 162 total. So they got 69 left. So they're way past the halfway mark of the season. And I'm kind of extrapolating the numbers out. At 41-52 right now, you're looking at maybe a 70-75 win season, which is somewhere close to 500. And that would be a little bit of a stretch. But I wouldn't call the season a success. In the 21 and a half games back in the Giants or the Dodgers right now. Are you a Dodgers fan? Because I know you're LA. Are you a Dodgers fan?
I mean, my grandmother was a Dodgers fan, but she just transitioned here, so I have a slight affinity for it. I'm more of a Lakers and Raiders.
Okay, Lakers, Raiders. So 8.5 or 8 games back in the wild card right now. A lot of teams will jump over. I guess for another few weeks you can still hold out hope. Maybe they catch a hot streak and slowly chip away at that. Could somehow miraculously make this a wild card. They do have the extra wild card spot in the playoffs this year, but it appears to be a season that we're probably not going to be any races or anything like that. The good thing to look forward to is, is they did have the draft over the All-Star weekend. And according to all the sayers out there, the Diamondbacks had got an A for their draft. And they started out by picking Andrew Jones' son. Drew Jones selected, what was he, the second overall pick? I think second overall pick. A lot of people thought he was going to go first. So when he didn't, we picked him up. And, he's got a good bloodline with Andrew Jones, a long time outfielder for the Atlanta Braves. And then they supplemented a few other picks throughout the draft. And, an A grade in MLB draft is not the same as an A grade in an NFL draft, because with NFL and even NBA, you kind of get immediate impact.
NBA, you definitely get immediate.
Yeah. There's only 7 pick rounds in the NFL draft, but normally your first round, second round, third round guys, even to your fourth, guys are going to be contributing.
They always say that you have to wait maybe 2 or 3 seasons to grade the NFL draft. Fair.
Yeah, true, but in most instances, those early draft picks are on the field, or at least dressing and contributing, even if it's special teams and things of those nature. Most of the high picks, they don't want to be too much of special teams, but you get some type of contribution depending on the position. With the MLB draft, you're drafting on total future potential, because most players are going to go to the minor leagues, even if it's just for a minute or two. But we have instances where first-round picks, I've seen some of those guys, it could take them 2, 3, 4 years to finally crack the seal, get to the big leagues, and then start making contributions. So that's the big difference for me with the player development.
That's what I meant to say. The last player development is what's going to be key, because I heard General League Vice President Mike Hazen said it's going to be on them to be able to get these players that they drafted and these talented players in their system to the big leagues much sooner rather than later. Because we always hear about prospect.
It's just a prospect.
It's a prospect. You want to see what you can do. If you want to, sometimes it takes some players a little bit longer to adjust the numbers. They need to get here to be able to start learning, but it's about player development. You have a lot of people who play on the minor league system, but especially on the major league system, to be able to
What's most interesting about what you just said there, you used the word prospect. We've all been, you and I, Mark, we've been in business, right? For organizations, and we have either the quarterly or the half year sales meetings. And these are the big ones where they bring everybody in from out of town. Everybody's sitting around, and you got to put your numbers up on the board. And they always, it's interesting. You'll see everybody's got a list of prospects all the way down, right? And it's what's on those prospects into closed deals. We want qualified leads. There are times I've been sitting in a sales meeting or whatever in my past, and somebody will throw some stuff up on the board. I was like, come on, man. You got like $10 million in your pipeline. You $10 million in that pipeline, and that's all prospects. Like you said, you got to turn the qualified leads, then they have to turn to sold accounts. We want business closed, right? And it's interesting because with the MLB draft, that's all it is. We're hoping, we got a list of great prospects. We got to get these guys into the minors and up the ladder as fast as possible. So it'll be interesting where they start somebody like a Drew Jones. Maybe there are different ways that organizations do it. With a prospect like him, he might be ready-made talent. What they might want to do is send him to single A for a minute, so it's not too big of a jump for him, but he experiences immediate success. Okay. What you want is that confidence. You don't want to toss him into double A right off the bat sometimes. Some guys are ready for it, especially some of these pitchers. Yeah. You throw a guy into double A or even triple A too soon, and he's playing against grown men. And Drew Jones, I think, was right out of high school or somewhere in that area. You throw somebody into the fire too fast, and you can destroy that confidence. So it'll be interesting to see where they put him to start out, how fast they want to get up the ladder.
And situation, circumstances, a lot of that stuff. Because think about where is it that you have that you're very
Algorithm. Yeah.
When you were traded, or when he left, there were people that started to tinker with more mechanics and about things. Whereas maybe if you had stayed with him as kind of being under his tutelage, so to speak, maybe it would be different. So oftentimes it's situational. So that's why that player development is so key, because somebody could break you down, but they get to build you back up. And it's for the Diamondbacks to try to compete in a division where they don't have as much money as the Dodgers, the Padres. We talked about it for a couple of years now. I thought that the Padres were going to be bailing out the money that they're spending, but they held firm and been steady about it, consistent about spending money. So you have those two really going to be able to compete is to have very effective drives and bring those drive aspects up to now to make an aspect that's different to the big leagues so they can start to really love.
And the next big question, Jay, is we got the trade deadline coming up August 2nd. So that's literally a week from San Francisco and the San Diego for that matter. They're going to spend. But you've got the trade deadline coming up August 2nd. It was about a month and a half ago. We were kind of questioning they could, when they were still hovering around 500 on a couple games out of the wild card, they could actually be spires or at least stay pat come trade deadline time. Well, we're 21 games out of first, 8 games out of the wild card. It's pretty obvious we're going to be sellers probably come. The problem is when you continue to keep that mode, and it's like we're going to probably Bumgarner will be on the list of potential. Hey, we'll give him away for this or that, right? But you're continuing to chip off of your brick. So you're letting certain pieces go. And I know he's not a futuristic piece, but at least a stable piece. So at the deadline, what I'm hoping is that they just don't sell everything in the house. It's not a will they do those the sales where they get rid of everything? Estate sale. We're getting rid of everything. I just hope they keep something to help them kind of continue in the right direction.
Yeah, it's going to come down to To me, I remember when the Lakers went through a big role in terms of your even the playoffs or even the championship. That's what I think happened with Magic Johnson. The big thing is the team became excited when they drafted Nick Van Exel and Eddie Johnson and some other players.
Yeah.
If the team is exciting, I think fans will call apart. If they're scoring runs, if they're excited in that way, that will make a difference. Being able to steal bases, get not only home runs but hits and being excited in that way, maybe that's what they need to do. Is that's
Real quick question before we go to break. Do you think Torrey, does he survive this season?
I think he survives the season, but I think he'll be better.
You don't think?
I hope that he is. He's a good
I think he's a great man. I think he's a great man in a bad situation. So we'll see. Hey, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about DeAndre Ayton.
And we got news in terms of on the coaching side.
There you go. There you go. I hope you have a great weekend so far, folks. Listen to Easy Day on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX AC Channel 21.7. Be back after these messages.
You can.
Did you drink your? Oh yeah. So I have a basically, you know, really cool that I just come out and give it away. I did it last time. I left it the days now. So we'll see if we get it back. I have to go this morning. I have a new best friend.
Yeah,
We've already gone on the road about 3 times. Interesting guy. Very interesting guy.
And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. Coming to you live today from Phoenix Strange Brew, 4343 West Bell Road. And this is more than just a coffee shop, folks. This is a place where you can come, hang out, fellowship. We've got all kinds of different things you can purchase in here, everything from some furniture, tentacles, candles, you name it. So come support this great local business, a great partner of Colt Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of the Sports Talk Show. This segment right here is brought to you by
True narrative media understands that today's world, the visual aspect of media is extremely effective in growing your business and expanding your brand awareness. True narrative media specializes in telling your unique story, providing a wide range of video services to companies and businesses of all sizes. For more information, call 623-335-0735 or visit TrueNarrativeMedia.com, and we got
Mark joining us
from
today.
True Narrative on site today.
Yes, sir. So we have some breaking news right about the start of the show. You sent me something. We have Monty Williams. Got a constitution. I thought he was already locked up. They just redid it and went even longer.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't take the deepest of dives into it. But
So he's already under contract through 23-24, and it looks like they. Let me see. What did they do here? They did something. I know that much.
Yeah, always reportedly signed a long-term contract extension, and so yes, I mean, I think that bodes well. Having any steady voice, again, I don't think he's the type that's going to be yelling and emotional. I think he's one in his stop, and all the success in the world, and the things that he had in terms of his private life, and so his labor life. So the details from it immediately.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. The contract is under contract for the 2023-2024 season.
Reigning coach of the year. So far with the Suns in 3 seasons, 149 and 78 records. So he's obviously, doing the right things, tweaking this organization. It's great to see.
So with that success, we talked about this with the Suns, with the Cardinals, expectations.
Oh yeah.
And so now it's about what can you get out of what changes can you make and first can you make as a coach, because I've heard this said, I'm curious about what you feel. The first couple of rounds of the playoffs, the Suns made it shoot, so they Austin. He was out coached in both of those series.
Yeah.
It's about what you make.
Well, we talked about it. The expectations for the organization has definitely been raised. We went from the bubble 8-game win to going to the finals unexpectedly next year, then to get bounced in the second round against the Mavericks this year. Total discipline. Now you have to rebound from that. You not just have to regain the confidence of the team, you got to regain the confidence of the whole city backing you to a certain degree. But sports is so unique because you had that great run, first place all the way through, number 1 seed. You get bounced in the second round, you got to go all the way back to the starting line in October and start from game 1 through 82. That's a long march to try to get back to where you were, but then beyond. And quite honestly, other teams in the West have made some moves to make themselves better. Clippers are going to get wide back. The road is going to be even tougher. Now, one of the good things is we maintain and re-signed Ayton. And that's either a good thing or a bad thing, according to who you ask for. It's unbelievable how this team went all the way, what they've done over the last couple years, and then you re-sign what I would consider one of your cornerstone pieces, and the reaction is, yeah.
That's because of the dangling that carrot, that's Kevin Durant.
That was
the Kevin Durant rumors and how would that work? Now you can't give up Ayton to at least
as a bargain chip. Yeah. Would you have? Are you better? Or you feel better bringing Ayton back, or would the possibility of bringing Durant here have kind of tantalized you a little more?
It depends on what you have to do. So
Yeah.
again, I always think about how when I think I mentioned this last week, when they the Heat, the initial Heat, right? So,
Yeah.
Well, I know this free agency and about that stuff, but still, what happened was we Wade, of course, and Wade, Josh, because of all the salaries, you had to let a lot of people go. And you were trying to get this minimum salary contracts.
Mhm.
So there is, you had some people making good decisions that helped you get them in a position to ultimately win championships. But so if you have to let the team, I don't know how well that would go. But I think Aiden has a good upon how Aiden is going to respond. Now you said you want the money, there's the money. You said you want additional because he should be more of a role in that just to give some.
Well, that depends what your coach and everybody how they depend. That's going to be interesting. You know, we always talk about coaching. You talk about how Monty got a little out coached on the court. Now there are so many aspects to being a head coach. Now he's going to be responsible. He and Aiden and probably some people in the front office of getting that relationship with Aiden back to a comfortable spot. Because I don't care what anybody says, the way everything worked out, you didn't offer him the extension early when you could have. He went through the whole season. They kept it as quiet as they could all through the season. But then, come to find out when things got bad, when they got bounced by the Mavericks, that's when all the dirty laundry and everything, you see the dust up on the sideline. And then the fact that Aiden was, my feelings would have been a little hurt too. You don't utilize me, you don't use me. I want to go somewhere else. But then you bring me back, and it's not okay. Well, you guys paid me. I'm cool. Let's go. There's going to have to be some mending of fences, if you ask me, so everybody can get back to that kumbaya.
Yes, and I think what you mentioned in my kind of our run sheet, that in this press conference,
He's very mature. How he
said all the
handled it.
right things. Because sometimes you don't know. You don't know until you know. You don't know what you don't know until you figure it out. Meaning that people could tell you that it's a business. No, it's good, it's good.
That's
But
good.
when you go through that first contract negotiation, that's when you find out that it is a business. Because when you're putting it on that rookie contract and you're drafted, the slot is what it is. So now they're understanding there's these people that there's a difference between me wanting to me being a fan separating business from business from professional.
Yeah.
So the personal from the professional. And that can be a hard thing to do because when you're trying to negotiate a contract, you're trying to find out it's trying to expose all the weaknesses. And to try to every time I show a weakness or find a weakness, I'm going to give you less money as a result of it. You have to be navigate towards that. It's depending on how he really steps through that, that's going to help you.
Let me ask you this. Would it make any sense? Obviously, you could have. I think the biggest sense for the Suns is if they could have figured out a sign and trade, they probably would have went that route. But the Indiana Pacers kind of held them to the point where you're not going to do a sign and trade because, we don't want to give anything up. And unless you match our offer, we're going to get. So the Suns their hands were a little tied. They didn't want to lose him for nothing. But then you bring him back, right? You got his big price tag for him. How stupid would it be to go out and bring him back and not make him a focal part of the offense? I mean, he has to be. But in reality, it could be the same that it was because who's running it? CP3. Book is the main focus. Aiden might always be a 3 or 4, a third or fourth option, depending. So with that being said, what's the number 2? Should be. Will he be? And if he is, then what's the point of bringing him back here? I'm asking some pretty good questions right now. These are questions that somebody should answer. I know you want to have the answer.
I really think you should be the number 2 option. That's how they should be preparing, and that's what they should be telling them. That's what it should be.
You know what? I'm asking the wrong person. That's the problem, Aaron. Do you have the answer? If they don't bring him back and make him the focus, what's the point of bringing him back in the first place?
I don't have any
Nobody's got the answer. Okay, I guess, But it's going to be interesting the first time that Chris, again, this might be where that cross, that focal point here is that the first time that Chris starts to really get on him about this is what you need to do now, dog. I'm paid just like you.
No, you know what?
I'm paid just like you. The first time that when you go home and your parents say, that you've been away at college or whatever it is, you come home the first time and say, where you going? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm grown now. I got the key. I'll come back. You straight? You good?
You know what I'm keeping an eye on now? That January trade that I want that mark when he is when they can trade. I think it's like January 23rd or whatever it is when they can finally trade him. But he still has veto power on that. But that for me, the question for me was let's watch how it looks from October to about November, December, and then we'll be thinking one way or the other. Yeah, he's gonna be hot on the market. I mean that'll be because if they don't use him, I don't think he's gonna be happy, which means he might be trade bait come the time, and we'll see how that goes.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny because he decides and people say, well, he's going to be here for another 6 months. Hey, man, can you say congratulations?
Before we get out of here, I do have to bring up the fact that he was very mature in how he handled everything, unlike somebody else that is making a big paycheck here in Arizona who scrub media and stuff like that. I really do like how Aiden was quiet and mature and said the right thing. First, other people. That's all. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Yeah. So we're gonna take this break. Hope you have a great weekend so far. Easy and Jay on the Sports Talk Show. Along with Brother Hans here, Mark behind the camera. Be back after these messages, folks. Get out and support this great business. Phoenix Strange Group.
Just want to put that little fact in front of you.
They beat him in a doubleheader, didn't they?
Double header.
Yeah. And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk. So, y'all used to love me some Chuck Rock. Love me some Chuck Rock. This thing right here is going to buy.
And we got me on that one. E3 Cryo. The goal of E3 Cryo and the wellness series to life and empower the community and better understanding the human body's self-healing capabilities. Some of the amazing benefits of the cutting-edge technologies include pain management, improved joint function, immune support, sleep improvement, and so much more. For more information, visit e3cryo.com. That's the number 3 cryo.com. Or call them at 602-899-2796, and you can just stop by the fitness location at Philadelphia, 33615 North 35th Avenue, Suite B.
Got to give a shout out. I hope he's still in range. Coach Dionisio, you know, he's on his way over to Cali. He's going to some football camps. And I think around the start of the show, he was actually in the Yuma area. And so he still has a strong signal. So if you're out there, Coach, I hope you safe travels. Always does a great job on the Varsity Sports Show. If you haven't listened, folks, that's some great stuff. And he's got a bunch of great interns working with him right now through the summer. But always great to hear Coach leading into our show. And then Brother Hans wanted to let everybody know that the Astros are on fire right now. They just dusted off the Yankees in the doubleheader. I think it was yesterday. And, the day before yesterday. And then stopped the Mariners' 14-game streak just last night as well. And it's interesting because my son, I don't know how, Brother Hans, is an Astros fan as well. And because of his video games and stuff like that. And, man, I'm telling you, I guess so.
Hey. Those are results.
Hold on a second. Jeez.
Oh, hey.
Oh, excuse me.
Earthquake.
I was joking with my son about that. He hates when I bring that up. But I say they're obviously not doing it now. They are top notch. So we'll keep tracking them and see, because everybody was talking about how the Yankees were just blowing everybody away. Couldn't find out the Astros only 2 games behind them. They had the Yankees on pace to win like 116 games this year, because they were. By the time they had 50 wins and like 18 whatever losses, but they cooled down a little bit, and the Astros have just been, was it the tortoise in the hair? They're just steady, just doing their thing. And so we'll see. That'll be one thing to watch after the All-Star break in July. That's when I start paying attention to the baseball. And once they get through, once they get through the 182 game preseason, and we get to the playoffs, that's when I start to kind of focus a little bit. So, and speaking of, let's stay on the baseball topic. Baseball, they don't do much right on the field, in my opinion. They got somebody leading, Rob Manfred, who from time to time just does not get the big picture. He does not, other sports are so, like football, they're always tinkering with stuff.
Yes.
And, innovative cameras, do this. Baseball is all about tradition. It's all about the silent rules. And I played, I use personally, so I know some of the insides and outsides, but Rob Manfred, over the All-Star break, biggest focus for me of this is your biggest time of the year. And he made a comment about how minor league baseball, the players were talking about how minor leaguers are just being left in the dark, not being paid, et cetera, et cetera. And he basically comes to the defense of baseball, how he does not see that they're not underpaid, they're getting the working living wage, and this is a man who makes $17.5 million per year, right? Just to be the commissioner of the league. Meanwhile, and I played the game. I was in the minor league for several years. You got most minor league players are making between $5,000 and $15,000 per season, not being paid for spring training at all, which is March and into April. Then you play April, May, June, July, August, 5-6 months. You get into September, and they're basically making $5,000 to $15,000 a year. And meanwhile, you got guys in Soto with the Nationals just turned down a $440 million contract, but you got the minor leaguers struggling down there. And
some of them have to take on that secondary job.
They do, right?
Many people living in a
you got guys living on air mattresses, sometimes 5-6 in an apartment just to survive through the year, making that little money. And this is supposed to be your profession. 142 game minor league season, right? And then there you have for the prospects, some of them they get ask you to play winter ball or different things. They'll invite you down for construction ball, things like that. So even more time as the years goes by where you're trying to survive on this $15,000, right? Meanwhile, Manfred is up. These players we're taking care of them. That is, man, it's such an insult. And I said I lived that life. And fortunately, I had a little bit of a signing bonus when I played. Not a huge one, but I had enough and made some smart decisions and was able to make it through 9 years of minor league baseball on the small pennies I was making. Bro, when I finally switched and I was in AAA when I switched, right? I finally went the following year. I was on the practice squad in the NFL. And I was making, I'm not even say what I was making, but man, I thought I was Hugh Hefner, bro. The money I was making, I was like, all the years I survived, 9 years. But after your signing bonus in 86, when I signed in 87, there was no more signing bonus. I didn't get, so I survived all those years. And then I got to start playing football. And then when I signed my first contract, man, bro, I was like, that many zeros? But then I reflect back to some of the brothers that I left behind in the trenches, still trying to play on those small little itty bitty wages, and then to hear all these years later they're still going through the same thing. And Manfred, I mean, those guys should be in the union. They should be making guaranteed money all through the year, not just they should be paid spring training all the way through, and then should have benefits and everything like that. I knew. The other fault goes to big league ball players.
They forget. But I made it. You have to go through the same struggle as opposed to saying, let's try to make this as fair as possible. If I'm in the league here, then why can't we have a league there to at least have a voice for players?
And it's such a small fraternity. I mean, they've actually shaved 30% for all minor league teams. They shaved it down, which is a disgrace. Probably, who knows? But then you shave it down, and then you still don't want to pay the ones you have left behind. And meanwhile, you're signing guys who, it's just incredible amounts of money that they're tossed around in the big leagues. You got to do to get turned down $440 million. Meanwhile, you got guys who take you $440 a month, or a week, or whatever it is. It's unbelievable.
It's when you hear about those stories, because you have to be available to go to the various, whether it's winter leagues or that type of stuff. So you're limited in some ways in terms of what you can do as a minor league player.
And you hit it right on the head, guys. I thought in this day and age, players would be able to, play the season and then, take a little bit of time off and get back to baseball to get ready for the following season. You got guys who's going home and still, when I played, there were guys we all had off-season jobs. We were forward out there. One year, I was moving furniture. Me and my best friend, Kenneth Pleasure, we stayed down. We were still going to the facility every day to use it in Sarasota. We were for a furniture moving company. And we were, they called us the Bank Brothers. It was a top-end furniture place, right? So we used to rearrange the designs on the floor and stuff. And we also went out in the trucks. Man, there was some of the stuff that we would break and bust up. That's why they called us the Bang Brothers. They got scared to send us out sometimes because they were like, we don't know what's coming. We might be bringing something back here that shouldn't be brought back. And I know guys, insurance sales.
And I want to be fair in terms of because I agree with what you're saying because there's certain. I remember going to college, there are certain sacrifices that you can make as a college student and try to get to the point where you can generate, where you can earn a living, right?
Yeah.
So to have that kind of understanding that we're going to be, you have to be smart about how you spend your money, get employment, and do all that type of stuff. But there's also, if this is a profession, you're not beyond the beginning stages and rungs of the ladder of that profession, you still should be paid a living wage.
Living wage. Yeah.
If nothing else, just at least to pay a living wage so that you can feed yourself. You have the roof over your head, be able to put some food into your body. So,
well, I hope at some point MLB is embarrassed by what they're doing. They probably never will be, but I hope enough people talk about it where they actually see what the sacrifice some of these young players are making. And they're chasing the dream. And there are some guys who they're tagged from the beginning. They sign a contract. You can draft sometimes. When I played, it was 70 rounds. guys in the 70th round, I said 70, not 17,
Yeah.
70 round.
Yeah.
There was, you got that, I got drafted in the 7th round, bruh, 70? There's not a lot of hope, but
Talk
you
about
still
cutting
chase that
through the
dream.
clutter and trying to
Yeah.
break through the noise. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
Because you're not looked upon in a positive way anyway. You're not high.
You're never a prospect, you're always a suspect. So they have a good ceiling in terms of what some are even expected to be, but they need those fillers because they know everybody's not making it to the big league. So it's unbelievable. And like I said, with the cutting of all the minor teams, there's only so many now. But hopefully they do better by some of those young players. So I'm going to take this last break. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. Coach Stanley, we're all cool out there as well. It's a little overcast today, but humid. Couldn't stop sweating earlier. Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KUS 1060 AM. KSLX 227 pounds is in the house. Brother Mark Twain is in the house. Having a great time here at Phoenix Strange Brew in Glendale. Be back to wrap things up after this message, folks. So you get it. Thanks, Aaron. Okay. Sports Talk Show. Appreciate you hanging out with us on this beautiful, but hot Saturday out here in the Phoenix area. I want to give a shout out and thank you to all the people that help us make this show possible. First off, brother Hans and Lonnie Shops at Colt Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of the Easy Sports Talk Show. Tisk, Goble, and Phoenix Strange Brew, and all the great employees of this great establishment here. Love them. Have been so hospitable. Make sure you come here to Phoenix Strange Brew, 4343 West Bell Road, right at the corner of 43rd and Bell Road. To support this great local establishment. Mr. Mike Milano and the family at Milano Music, Frank Sturpey and the Imagine Schools of Arizona, and Above Par Network family. Coach DeAlicia with the Varsity Sports Show, Colton Mara at EIC Agency, Mr. Cam Rogers and the Believe Network, where you can find all our work with Believe at
Believe.com and also easysportstalk.com as well. Just wherever you find podcasts. Believe in the Arizona.
There you go. Miss Tina Smith of E3 Crowd and Wellness Center, Majestic Services. Let Majestic Services come out and do all of your dirty work. Casual Sports Network. Shout out to brother Earl and Sean. Customer First Solutions. Brother Mark Twain Beaver and True Narrative Media, who was here helping us do all this great stuff today. Thank you for coming out, Mark. And then Aaron behind the glass, as always, one of the best in the business. Aaron, I just want to make sure you know how much we appreciate you and make things so easier on us on this side. And I know it's tough to get with Jay sometimes, but you know, you used to get a gold star just for that alone. And then I want to thank everybody here at the Phoenix Strange, all the local people who came in to support. And we're so hospitable. It's not easy to do a show crowd like this sometimes, but everybody was just so warm and we got it done. Oh my goodness. Yeah, get some.
Located on the southwest corner, 43rd Avenue. Well, so cool things every Tuesday they drop the tea recipe for the home. Spill the tea Tuesday, the Thursdays the new coffee recipe, the Fridays like Friday. And, sometimes you have some great establishments, secret menu, and it's available on Instagram or Facebook. You can find that. And one of the things that came in and some of the items that are here, it's all local. So they buy local, support local, vendors are local. Personal relationship with communities such as the Irish Clothing, so support local to this establishment, some capital beverages and such, but also
yeah, and keep in mind that they actually rent the space out if you need it too after hours. So if you're looking for a place for a fellowship or just have some meetings right here at the corner of 43rd and Bell, make sure you reach out.
Real quick, so this is maybe a little bit motivation. One of the things I know that this has been a 26-year thing of the sometimes we got to step out of faith.
Yep.
So we got to step out of faith and stand up to make the necessary things and just as you go. Don't be afraid of being to go out and everybody's perfect. And those things that you go and take contribution is realize because they're scared. And they are scared of so don't let that stuff.
Also, no person is perfect and no time is perfect as well. Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes you just got to pull the cord and go. Let's get out there. So, bro, you motivate me every time you speak. You show me what not to do. You show me how to do it differently. Oh my goodness. I want to let everybody know next week we're going to be on the road again with our great partner in Colt at Brick Road Coffee, which is located in Tempe, 4415 South Wall Road in Tempe. So Brick Road Coffee, if you're in the area, stop out. And a shout out to Brother Lonnie, who was dealing with some health issues. He was near somebody who COVID, so Brother Hahn told us he's in quarantine for 5 days. he said hopefully be back out next week and we'll get a chance to see Brother Lonnie. So with about 5 minutes or so to go in the show. Bro, what's going on? What's got going to finish the weekend? What's got on your mind?
Get a couple miles in today and longer running tomorrow. But I have a question for you, just really quick. You always hear about, because you play the game in the locker room and in the clubhouse, do you have to love the sport in order to be great? And I asked you that question on the podcast.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a truncated version. Like, when you open my eyes up to some of this stuff, especially when it comes to football. You have to love the sport in order to be great.
That was a great question yesterday. We talked about it. When you're doing something, if you're in, you brought up accounting. If you're an accountant, you don't have to love accounting to still be successful at it. You might just be good at numbers, and you can formulate. You can put a business plan together. You get your little calculator and go home the other night, and everything the other day you say, last thing you say before you leave the door, man, I can't stand this job. Right? So you don't necessarily have to love it to be successful at it. Football in general, sports in general, in my opinion, at the very least, you gotta like it a whole lot. And if you like it, you kind of limit yourself to where your ceiling might be, because we all know you have to put in so much work and time just to be an average. If you're going to be like a Tom Brady or something, if you have aspirations to be great, man, you gotta love it. It's gotta burn a hole in your heart to do it. And what happens is sometimes guys like it, they have the ability, but they're not willing to go that extra mile. It's like, and they top out. You can see where their ceiling is. If you have that passion like a Tom Brady, that's why, I heard you hear those stories all the time. He's the first one. There were guys who got signed by the Patriots, and he's like, well, I'm going to show them. I'm going to be the first one in the building, before they even open it up. And then you get in there, and Tom's already in there looking at the film. You're like, how could this dude, everything he's accomplished, what's he doing in here? I thought I was going to beat him in there. Because that passion, love for the game, drives you. Now, there are guys who just have ability. They don't necessarily love it. And they could have, I've seen guys who just kind of fallen out because didn't have that desire and love for it. And ability can only take you so far. You might get a couple years in the show, but eventually you fall off. So for me, and here's I'll say this one last thing. Football is a sport that if you're in it, you better have at least a like for it, because there are days, and I told you this yesterday, where it can test your soul. Beat up, Monday after 8 weeks in the season, right? You got to get up at 7 o'clock or be there early by 7 to get your workout and your legs and that takes commitment. And there are times, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I would get up in the morning, and because my initial love was baseball, but then when I transferred to football, I had that fire. Man, there were times, even as much as I loved it, getting up, sores you hard, hurting, and you got to go lift weights just to get through. You better have it, because if you don't, I'm not gonna lie. There times I just had to fake it till I made it. If you fake it till you make it, just take it through the workout. I don't know. You get through it, but man, I'm telling you what, but you got to have that love, and you can tell when a guy doesn't, when they don't.
See it in terms of you got that concern.
You can see it in preparation.
You've been on the college level or something like that, and you can see that I do that love, or this professional doesn't love it. Can you spot those
Yeah.
things?
Well, you hear the term all the time in the draft, high motor. I think got a high motor because this is bad. There are some guys, I'll be honest with you, there are guys I lined up against talking on, it's going to be a rough one, because this dude doesn't stop. He might not have the talent of the dude next to him, but this dude he never stops. I like that dude that would give you like 75%, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so what you got to do the weekend? Get some running in,
Yeah,
get
a
some
little bit of running in, making a brisket.
Making a brisket. I'm doing some wild rice and chicken in the pressure cooker tomorrow. So we will get that in. So once again, thank you, Aaron. Thank you to everybody who helps make this show do what it do. And Brother Hans, thank you for everything, your partnership, your love, your brotherhood.
I'll say this about me. Someone's like my wife. If you walk into a place and you don't know anybody, and by the time
Okay, I was like,
everybody is just, hey, that's what's up. Because Hans came in.
I'm glad he cleaned that up to the end. I thought he was
Because Hans came in and there was a gentleman that he was talking to, and they had a really great conversation. conversation. You can just tell it was a good conversation, and that reminds me of, you know, that very simple nature and simple. So that was really cool to see.
I'm glad he cleaned that one up for all of us there, Hines. So, hey, on behalf of Brother Hines, Mark, Tish, everybody here at Phoenix Stranger, once again, make sure you come out, support this great business, 4343 West Bell Road. Thank you, Brother Jay, for our brotherhood and everything. Another great show. Hope everybody out there enjoyed it. Hope you have a great finish to your weekend. Next week, like I said, we'll be at Brick Road Coffee, 4415 South Royal Road in Tempe. Come out and support that. We'll see you there. Until then, hey, we about to get out here, some of this eat, roll this stuff up. I got a lot of couch time in my future. I don't know about you. Thanks again, Aaron. And listen to the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 KSL. How many times I said that? Till next week, be easy out there, everybody. Hit him, Jay. Thanks, Aaron.
EasySportsTalk.com. Listen and believe in the Arizona Cardinals.
All right, guys, you are clear. Good show. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Aaron. Have a good weekend, man.
Yeah.
All righty.